Okay guys, I'm going to do a little tutorial on the manual cam chain tensioner gasket removal and repair. As you can see, mine is leaking pretty heavily, and we're going to make it fixed. You don't want a dirty bike, so clean your bike. Clean everything in there. If you don't have access to a pressure washer, go to a car wash or do it by hand before you open up your engine case. Getting dirt in your bike is not the answer to good bike maintenance. Plus, it's pretty apparent that oil eats the paint off of the engine case. Not exactly a good thing. Makes it look ugly. Yeah, look at that, it eats it. All that stuff is coming off. Kind of a bummer. At least it's clean. That's a happy bike to start some disassemblage of. It's a DR650 2007. And like I said before, it has developed a manual cam chain tensioner leak. $2 part right here. It's the gasket. Hopefully the repair goes quick. So I've seen guys struggle heavily with trying to get to that thing without taking their exhaust header off. I have an aftermarket FMF power bomb that's really easy to take off. So I did that. Now I'm going to take off the oil cooler lines. Hopefully I can get to the one up there, which you probably can't see, but it's somewhere up there. Easy peasy to take the oil cooler lines off. Don't even have to drain the oil. 17mm up here and a 12mm here. So now, as you can see, this guy is easy to get to. Okay, this is the manual cam chain tensioner. If you stick a little screwdriver after taking the bolt off right here and screw it, so you can see if you just screw it some of the way, then it loosens up, right? So best way to do this is to screw it all the way in. This is for reinserting it. If you don't do this before and you screw it all the way in, then it stays, it sticks. And then you stick, once you're done, you stick that puppy back in there. This is up, the gap here is down. And then once it's in there, then you just give it a little loosen and bam. Well, I can tell you right now that this gasket right here is baked on, so this is going to be fun to remove. So I stuck a piece of cloth inside here just to, while I take it all off, to make sure that it doesn't, none of the crud that I scrape off actually goes into the engine. Don't ever put anything into the engine that isn't needed to be there. The age-old question, how the heck do you get a gasket off of the head? And at the moment, I don't have a clue. So right now I have Goo Gone soaked into this rag. I'm just trying to soak it for a little bit. See if I can get help with the Goo Gone before I attack it. Well, just like everybody said, that's going to take about an hour to do. I used everything I possibly could to get it off. Acetone, Goo Gone, brake cleaner, you name it. I ended up finishing the whole job with a little wire wheel brush from on a Dremel, and just lightly going over it and then scraping some more off and then lightly going over it again until it all came off. So patience is a virtue, and maybe some beers. Must have beers. So just because I used a razor blade and there was a nick, can't see it, but right where my finger is, there's a nick, and it's just a tiny one, even though I used some 1500 grit sandpaper to get it nice and flat. Just being a little paranoid. So I got some gray RTV gasket maker, high temp. Have no idea what the gray does or the black does, but I figured it can't hurt. Don't forget that you can screw clockwise from that little hole in there all the way until the cam chain tensioner locks. So you don't have to mess with trying to hold that thing back as it wants to re-spin out. Okay, so using the handy dandy climber manual, we're just making sure that step 10 there on the upper left hand side says install the cam chain tensioner mounting bolts, tighten the mounting bolts to 89 inch-pounds or 10 Newton meters. So that's next. As you can see, I have it in, kind of hand tight. The cam chain tensioner has not been released yet. So using my handy dandy cheap ass Harbor Freight torque wrench, I have torqued it. Okay, pretty simple. Let's do a little wipe down of the gasket. Keep it clean. Don't forget to release. Oops, sorry guys. Don't forget to release the. Ooh, did you see that? That spun like mad. It's tight, tensioned. Done. So we now get this guy. Put him on. Hopefully I have it in there right. That would suck if, oh, there we go. I didn't. And yes, my little shop is messy. Okay, done. I'm gonna put the oil cooler lines on without the camera, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Changing it, getting it out is really easy. Getting the gasket off, like I say, took me a good 35 minutes and the next day. So not just one day, but one day of walking away and drinking a beer. And then today, figuring it out. Pro tip. Can you see the crush washer down there? That actually fell in underneath the starter and it disappeared. Took me a second, but I had an air compressor and blew it in from this side over here and it popped it out. So, not bad. So I've got another pro tip for you. When installing the oil lines, install the upper one first. If you put the lower one in, then you don't have much room to actually fit the banjo bolt and its crush washers on. And like you saw, they fall down underneath the starter and create a minor heart attack. So top one first, then bottom. Now all that's left right now is the header. And I should be good to go. Alright, she's all put together. Let's see what happens. Choke action hasn't been started in a few days. Well, I didn't have any extra bolts or nuts, anything else of that nature. Overall, the operation is pretty easy, but the pain in the ass factor of scraping off the gasket is high. But if there were, what, 5 on a wrench factor of 5, it's really a 2. Pretty easy.